in quickly getting there, assessing the situation, making quick entry, and taking the suspect into custody, and also how brave the victim and her child was in order to fight off this suspect and get police there quickly. It is a unique case. None of my detectives who have years of experience can remember the last time that officers made entry into a residence where a home invasion was happening and a sex assault was happening and made an arrest inside the house. It has been a long time since that type of situation has happened. A very dangerous situation today, and I think we're lucky that everyone is okay. The victim was treated at the hospital for her injuries. She is going to be okay, and we're very happy there. The suspect has a history of break-ins. We do not know why he targeted this residence. We cannot say. He was interviewed here at the Law Enforcement Center, but following that interview, we can't say why he targeted this residence. His charges today, he's across being processed at the Mecklenburg County Detention Center. His charges are felony breaking and entering, second-degree rape, second-degree sex offense, sexual battery, first-degree kidnapping, and assault on a female. And as Major Thomas said, this is a very violent crime, and we're hoping that with his history and the charges we have today, that he will remain in custody.
I understand there might be some charges here. I'm sorry, some questions. Let me go over the charges again for you. So we have felony breaking and entering, second-degree rape, second-degree sex offense, sexual battery, first-degree kidnapping, and assault on a female. Everybody good with those? Good? Okay. Any questions for Captain Ivy or Major Thomas?
How unusual, sorry.
No, go ahead. That's fine.
How unusual is it for this to just be a random situation where you don't know why they targeted this house? I know I feel like oftentimes we hear about sexual assaults happening with someone who knows someone.
Major?
Like Captain Ivy said, I can remember one time in a 26-year career where, I can remember one time in a 26-year career where something similar has happened, and we made an arrest on this, but without, we've scoured that neighborhood after this, the officers, to find anything like that, and it's if you look at profiler type activities, and that's where you see sometimes when people go from break-in to break-in to break-in, but then is this a crime of opportunity to where the female was home? It wasn't an unoccupied home that he goes in to break in, and all of a sudden it turns into a sexual assault, which is a terrifying scenario. I don't know if Captain Ivy has anything more to add from that, but right now there's no reason why this house was picked or this person.
To follow up on that, did this particular suspect, know you said he'd had a violent history in other places, did any of those violent offenses include any type of assault like this, or was it just break-ins?
He had so far we've been able to confirm a history of break-ins. He's a convicted felon out of Cleveland County, assaults on officers, assaults on what it looks like prison staff when he was in jail. So history of violence there, but so far we have not located any sexual crime history.
How shocking is it to have a child call in something like that? I mean, are we talking like a 5-year-old, or are we talking like an older teenager?
It was teenager,
okay.
Teenager, but still, to have the presence of mind. We would not have been able to make this arrest if that did not happen. We would be out probably looking for this suspect with a much less degree of being able to solve this crime. We made this arrest due to the bravery of that child and the bravery of the victim.
You talk about how rare a situation like this is, to where you get that call, you are able to respond in 6 minutes. How do you approach a situation like this, to where you're walking up to the house? What is the training like of, okay, we need to not only neutralize the suspect, stop this from happening, but also keep that kid safe, as well as protect this kidnapped suspect as this is going on?
We're lucky South Division has a lot of very experienced officers, but it could have been a rookie right out of the academy of responding to this. You have to make all of those decisions. You have to take everything in as you're coming to the house. Is there a firearm involved? I hear screaming from inside. Where can I make entry? What is going on? Because it wasn't clearly written out in the 911 notes. We just know something very bad and somebody needs our help, and that's how the officers respond. Like I said, the when we do our review of the video, I guarantee it'll be 30 seconds or less from the time they hit that street to the time they're probably going inside that house or something very of that nature. And you just don't know what you're going to encounter. We just have to hope that they have the best training we can get them, that they have presence of mind, and that they take that suspect into custody. And that's why we look at how quick things happen to officers in all of our violent encounters, how we do an amazing job at keeping control and doing this. But it's something to be proud of for these guys. I know all these officers have worked with them a long time. We talk about these are some of our senior officers, and they did a great job.
Major, you mentioned that kind of twice you alluded to wanting to make sure that this violent suspect stays behind bars. We all know, as of late, what that's been like for you all. Are you concerned that this person may be able to bond out and get back out into the community?
Yes. With a sexual assault crime, usually we do see higher bonds. But my personal opinion, you do a violent sexual assault like this, you should not be allowed a bond. With the amount of evidence and amount of crimes and the danger to the public that a person like this represents, there should be no bond. But that's where we have to rely on the other parts of the justice system, the rest of the system, to recognize the inherent danger that an individual like this has and is shown, and that they should be in custody until their trial happens. My opinion.
You mentioned, I think we were trying to set up a mugshot maybe a few minutes ago. Can you give us the name of the suspect?
It'll be sent out.
Okay.
Sorry that we had the technical difficulties there, but
Okay.
the release is ready to go, or has already gone out.
Thank you.
Was this suspect armed, or did he just smash his way in?
He used a blunt object to obtain entry by smashing the window out at the back, and was not armed with a firearm or anything like that from what the investigation has found so far. Can't go into too many details because some interviews are still being done.
So do we know if he was visiting this area or if he actually lived in the Charlotte area? Is this the first incident that has happened here?
He has an arrest history in Charlotte. Right now, we don't have a location of a residence for him here. We like I said, scoured the neighborhood looking for a vehicle, anything like that. He bounces from one county to another, it looks like, with his crime patterns. In a case like this, Captain Ivy's team often reaches out to others. Does it match an MO from another area? Has he done this before? And we caught him.
And I would say as well, if you want to put out that if anyone in that area, if anyone in that immediate area wants to look on their Ring cameras tonight or speak to neighbors and see if they had seen somebody canvassing the area or anyone suspicious in the area that could be our suspect, please give us a call. We'll collect that video and collect that information and see if there's anything else that we need to investigate with this individual. I believe it's on the news release as well, but Detective Lawrence is our lead detective, and his phone number is on the release.
I'm curious too, going back to you saying, you guys really hope that the other side does their job to prevent this suspect from getting any sort of bond to bond out. What if he does? What if they do? What do y'all have at y'all's disposal to make sure that this is not going to be a repeat thing, to where they at least are able to do it one more time before ending back with no bond?
I mean, from our side of it, when we see people that do a violent crime and they may get put on electronic monitoring, how many people have we seen perform murders in this town that are on electronic monitoring, have done break-ins, have done larceny from autos, continue to do crimes with electronic monitoring? The program has a place, but keeping violent offenders from repeating violent crimes, it doesn't seem to happen.
And when looking at or seeing incidents like this, you say you've been doing this for 26 years. What does it normally take to keep a person behind bars? Is his criminal record add up to what you've seen in the past, or is it, if that makes sense?
It makes sense. It's just like the example of, and you can look at cases like this person had a history of burglary and maybe burglary convictions. What have we not caught them for? What have they not done? And that pattern of like you said, why was this person picked? He could have been going in there just to do a burglary, and then this happened. Has that happened in the past? We're not, we can't read the tea leaves on all the cases, but it's when that one act of violence, and you heard the list of charges, to me that's enough.
How many officers responded this morning to the call?
Off the initial that were there, I want to say there were 4 officers there.
At the time he was taken into custody, there were 4 officers on the scene.
Okay.
Can you address the dispatcher's actions and how they were I would imagine they would have had to talk this teenager through whatever happened.
Dispatch probably also did great work on this too. I haven't had an opportunity to listen to the tape, but like I said, the call came into the 911 center at 10:30. The officer got that first dispatch page on their system at 10:32. That means the response from one time they got it there was really 4 minutes. But that 911 person is taking the information in, getting it there. The officers are on the way. They're getting updates as they go. And that's why when you're talking about the amount of information they're getting, it's coming off of screens, it's coming in the radio, and it's coming from what they're seeing. They're having to keep that person calm and get enough information to get as much as they can to those officers to make that educated judgment on, do I kick in this door? Do I go in? Do we have to try to call somebody out? Or is the suspect out in the neighborhood and we're having to chase somebody? All that factors in. But they, once again, part of the team, we couldn't do a job like this without great dispatchers.
You said in Cleveland County, with him being booked in there for past crimes, you said that he was also charged with assaults on prison staff. Have there been any sort of conversations here to make sure that any prison staff that is around him, or how do you approach whenever you have
They have somebody, they have a threat assessment, and they look at their history there, and the sheriff's department looks at that. Is it a high threat occupant of that? They would treat them accordingly.
Do you know if this right here is considered a high threat occupant just in your conversations?
It should be. I haven't had the opportunity to talk to the sheriff's department.
He wasn't known to CMPD prior to this?
He had been arrested by CMPD before in the past, I believe up to 6 times, and including an assault on officer.
Up to 6 times?
I see.
I believe I saw 6 different cases on him.
That's correct, sir.
Correct. I might be off 1 or 2, but one of those was an assault on officer from another break-in that he was caught for. I believe that one was maybe 20.
Have you been able to get any information out of him outside? I know you said you weren't able to confirm if why he did it, but did he tell you anything else that could kind of wrap this together?
We did interview him. He did give us a statement. I don't want to get into details of what he said in his statement, but there was nothing fruitful to lead to any other cases out there.
Did he attack officers when they tried to arrest him this morning?
He complied this morning when he was placed under arrest.
Okay, Major and Captain, thank you so much. I do want to just make sure that say something that just can't be overstated. Had we not been there and taken him into custody, we would still be sitting in this room, probably having a conversation about this, but it would be a different conversation. It would be about a suspect of a sexual assault that's on the loose in the city of Charlotte, and thank God that's not the case. Thank God that he's behind bars and that he's at the jail. Another point of interest, I think, is the Pretrial Integrity Act that has been pushed by CMPD quite a bit. That went into effect in October. One of his charges here is first-degree kidnapping. That's one of the 18 enumerated charges in the Pretrial Integrity Act, and so thank God that we have that in case in place also. Go ahead.
Sorry, I just have one more question. The child that called in, was the victim their mother or sibling? Could you give us any information on that?
Yeah, we can't confirm that right now. It was just the juvenile inside the house. So we do have the media release out to you. I'll go ahead and confirm his name for you right now. Suspect's name is Santerius Allen, Santerius. Last name Allen, Allen. Date of birth is 10/26/91. And yeah, we do have that information out for you. Major Thomas, first name Jonathan, Jonathan, last name Thomas, Thomas, and then Captain James Ivy, James, common spelling, Ivy, I-E. Thank you for being here today. And thanks for Major Thomas and Captain Ivy for being here also. All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, guys.
He spells it right.